cobalt blue skies, sometimes white, puffy clouds over these vast, unending, undulating, wide open plains of short grass. Visibility for miles. Hardly a tree in sight, except for the very occasional massive umbrella thorn acacia tree, like the ones you see in the postcards, just peppering the landscape. And when the herds are on these plains, there are literally animals everywhere, as far as your eye can see, 360 degrees all the way around you, all the way to the horizon, wall to wall animals. And the sounds and the smell and the sight, it's unbelievable.
We're all inspired by beauty. We're moved by beauty. After spending many years as a leadership and training consultant in the corporate job, I moved to the bush, and that's where I found the most incredible beauty I've ever encountered.
And so during my time as a ranger and a guide there, I started a research project to study the area's lion, leopard and cheetah populations, to try and understand a little bit more about what makes these big cats so incredible at surviving brutal change and constant competition. And so, for 6 years, I photographed their faces, I monitored their movements, I tracked their territories, their behaviors, their feeding habits, their prey selection, predator interaction. You know what I realized? The wild world, the jungle, that Africa's great beasts have been thriving in for millions of years, is just like our wild world. It's just like our jungle. Challenging, changing, competitive, and full of opportunity.
I wanted to bring something totally unique to the table. I wanted to bring that beauty that I saw in nature every single day of my life into the workplace. Mine is a message not from one human to another. My message is much bigger. What I want most for the audience is how they're going to feel when they leave. I want them to leave with a feeling, because I know when they leave with a feeling, that feeling will become a part of them. They will own it.
What inspires me the most about delivering my keynotes is that in every environment it's a different audience, it's a different setting, it's a different context, and of course it's a different event. Each event carries with it sometimes its own theme, its own process. And so for every keynote that I deliver, I'm required to make that keynote and the content that I'm sharing the most relevant possible to that audience. And because every audience is different, every keynote will be different. As a motivational speaker, I can't instill drive in someone, but I can share with them a message that resonates with them to allow them to spark that drive that's already in them. And because everyone loves animals, because everyone relates to the animals, there's meaning for everyone, regardless of their age. Stickinia was a small female, and she walked with kind of like a bit of a limp, and so she dragged her foot just ever so slightly. So my Shangaan colleagues, of course, called her stick in yao, stick in the leg, because she walked like she had a stick in the leg. The amazing thing about Stickinia was that she'd overcome her disability and her size. As small as she was deadly. She was resilient. She was tough. And I loved this leopard. I turn the vehicle off the road and we follow the tracks. He leads me. He says, he's directing me. We go down the donga and along the edge of the donga. And as we get to the edge of the donga where another little riverine meets it, there Sticking-Out was lying on the grass, on the riverbank, looking up like this, looking around. She was very alert. And she was licking herself like cats do. Anyone got a house cat here? Okay, a few of you. And I could see from her ribs showing through her skin that she was hungry. Well, it was early enough and cool enough in the morning, she gets up and she starts to hunt.
What makes my talk so different is that I tell stories, true stories, stories of things that I experienced and I saw over the years of working in the bush. And it's those stories that resonate with people and allow them to access the lessons that come from those stories really easily, really quickly. And it's those stories that remain in people's minds, etched in people's minds forever. Because when they engage with the story, it becomes part of them. It's inside them. And that's real motivation. That's real transformation.
Success, ladies and gentlemen, is not a little accident. This leopard had uncommon, uncanny focus. The leopard was engaged. The leopard was hungry. And so she was willing to do whatever it takes and remain completely focused regardless of the distractions. And there were many. The impala's running away. How often are we distracted by dwelling on the things that have gone past that we can't change? The rain. How often are we distracted by things completely beyond our control? The kudu, that was the biggest distraction. How often are we distracted by opportunities that we think are bigger and better, that take us away from where we're going?
What I think makes people happy the most is laughter and having fun. Some of the stories that I share inherently have humor in them. Some of the stupid things that I've done in the bush are actually quite funny. And it's in those moments when they're away from the conference, they've heard the talk, in the moments, the tough moments in their lives, that because of the stories, they can instantly recall the lesson and bring it back and apply it to their own lives. I think people stagnate because they don't take time to replenish and to refresh. And replenishing and refreshing involves doing something new, doing something different. My talks are not something an audience has ever seen before and probably won't see again. And so that newness, that freshness gives the audience a new lens through which to view those stories and the lessons that come out of the stories that I share. As I've spoken to numerous companies, numerous organizations in multiple industries, I've seen that there are certain common things that keep CEOs awake at night. There's certain common things across industries that organizations and CEOs face as huge challenges. Some of the major challenges that many CEOs face are around teamwork, leadership, and change. Change is ubiquitous. Every organization faces change. That sometimes can derail organizations from their path when unexpected obstacles or occurrences happen. And the ability for the organizations to be nimble, to adapt to those changes is often a massive challenge. And so in my talks, I speak very specifically about how, in this case, the leopard is one of the most adaptable predators on the African continent, is able to adapt to the change, is able to function not just in spite of the change, but thrive in the face of change.
And so the leopard can adapt to the conditions immediately around it. And it can hunt according to the availability of prey right there. And that's everything, isn't it? The ability to adapt quickly and decisively under pressure to the conditions immediately around you.
Teamwork is also a major challenge for CEOs. And I speak on how lions are able to synergize, collaborate their efforts to allow them to hunt prey that no other predator can get. They can get exceptional results. And I talk about what it takes for lions to operate as a team to get those exceptional results.
In nature, you either get strong or you die. In a tough marketplace, you get strong or you die. The weak don't survive. There's no room for passengers. That lion cub that I watched get killed was weak and a passenger. And passengers actually just hold the whole team back. And sometimes, just like that lioness had to make a tough decision, sometimes we have to make tough decisions to get rid of what holds us back.
What inspired me about the bush was the ways in which the organisms of nature interact with each other to create a whole ecosystem. And that when you take out one part of that ecosystem, the ecosystem crumbles. And it was very clear to me how powerful those parallels were. The parallels between the ways in which the organisms in the ecosystem survive change, survive competition. Paralleling that with how humans survive competition, how humans survive change, and how humans interact and operate as part of a massive system. I love people.
Welcome, Lorne.
Thanks very much, Russell. You know,
What I want most for my audience is to empower them. That each one of them, upon leaving that room where I've spoken, upon leaving that conference, they have with them a set of tools, knowledge, and the ability to act immediately and forever on after that. Because the stories have the power to allow my message to remain with you forever. That's when it becomes really powerful. That's when I know my message has hit home. That's when I know that what I am able to say is able to make a difference in their lives. That they will take that story, they will take that lesson and apply it in their own lives right there.